Episode number 143 of the Ring Fanatics podcast. I am Nick, your host. With me is my co-host Joel.
Yo.
Today, we are joined by the host of the Turnbuckle Tabloid. Please welcome Jay and Mike. What's going on, guys? How you been?
How you doing, guys? I'm doing great.
Your audio.
We lost
audio,
Mike.
Jay.
We lost
Yeah.
the
All right. Yeah, there we go. We're back. Listen, it's 4 something over here this time. It's happy hour. Enjoy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Jay's on vacation this week, so he's having a ball with his place.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's awesome.
Most definitely.
I didn't come
kick
prepared.
off the weekend good.
Yeah. You all should be prepared with beers. Wasn't ready for that.
Exactly. Shit.
So yeah, how you guys been? How's everything? It's the first cross promotion that we're doing together as a podcast. Today's episode we're gonna be talking about MVPs, in our opinion, who we think is the MVP of both WWE and AEW, and other stuff that happened within the past 24 hours in the world of professional wrestling. So I saw this post that was on Twitter not too long ago, and it asked who the fans think is the MVP of WWE. The lists that they put down was Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley, Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Dominic Mysterio, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. I want to start off with the guys at the tabloid, since you're our guests. It doesn't have to be those specifically. You guys, if there's any others, you can say any other. But who do you guys think was the MVP of 2023 in WWE?
Mike, you could go first. Go ahead, Mike.
I think those names are most are definitely deserving of the list. Honestly, at this point, Roman Reigns would probably be at the bottom, considering for most of the year he pretty much wasn't around. But I will say, angle-wise and storytelling, he's probably at the top. I will say. I mean, I completely forgot that the whole Royal Rumble angle was just this year alone. So, like you said, like Dominic Mysterio's on there as well. Gunther.
Dom's definitely on that list.
Yeah.
For someone that really hasn't done much, he's done a lot in the past year. I will say. I will give like honorable mentions like the both the Usos. I know Jay's on there, but I'll say for Jimmy as well. Aside from the heel turn, that doesn't make any sense still. Like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, I would give credit to. And also like Solo Sikoa, I'll give credit a little nod to as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Solo's not a bad person to put on that list either.
Right.
He had a good year.
Yeah. A breakout year, I would say.
So for me, I would have put an MVP for him right now because of what they've been doing consistently year round, all through the year, and he actually brought a lot of more eyes to the product in the past year or so. Also, his work has been great. His promos, the charisma that he's been able to resonate to the masses. But I wouldn't put him as MVP. I would probably put him as most improved, but yet it would have been a strong MVP candidate. Would have been Damian Priest.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
After the match that he had in Puerto Rico and Backlash with Bad Bunny, it took him and skyrocketed him to another level, and it gave confidence to the management and the upper tier individuals in WWE to say we could trust this dude to do what we need him to do, and he'll do it. It's also been able to, as we can see now, we see a lot of merchandise has been sold through him with the Backlash and the Judgment Day stuff. And especially the ones that translate to our Boricuas out there. So he did a great job with that. But in all honesty, the number one person that's the MVP, we could go through Cody, we could go through Seth. These guys have always been consistent, and we always know them to be guys that's always going to be the top tier performers, wrestlers in the business. But I would give it to Jey Uso because it's been such a big transition from him to move away from being a part of a tag team and be able to show that he is an individual And the biggest thing that they did was that they were able to. We were all sitting there trying to speculate how are they going to break up the Usos, and I think they found the right line to do that, to give them their separation. And when that occurred, we saw how much of a star that Jay is, and I think for WWE, he's earned it this year as their MVP.
I think Jay has had more of an improvement over Jimmy because Jimmy, I know Joel and I talked about this, like, I think last week, where, I think Jimmy, we're still finding his place in terms of being a solo superstar.
Mhm.
He's behind in Roman still. He's just like, I think he's put in that Jay position from when Jay first became main event Jay Uso, to where
Right.
Jay Uso is still, we already seen that solo run from him. So we already know what he could do prior to this breakup from the Usos. But in terms of MVP of 2023, I'm gonna have to give this to Gunther because I think you can get the same reasonings that Jay said for Damian Priest. Every single match that Gunther has had, whether it was premium live event or on Raw, was much see TV, and he made that IC title more important than it was before then. One of the great IC titles reigns we've seen in quite some time now. So he put relevance on that title. Like I said, every single match of his was always must see, even on Raw when he main evented with Gable, Bronson Reed, and others. I think he definitely put his name. Yeah, he could also be most improved as well, but I think he made it more memorable to watch. Joel, what about you?
I gotta put up there Damian Priest. Damian Priest, like Jay said, has done so much this year, especially going back all the way to the Puerto Rico show, and what he's done since then has just been incredible. I hope with this big return that just happened with Punk, hopefully the Money in the Bank isn't just left in the back of people's mind and they don't do anything with it. Kind of nervous that's what's gonna happen, and he's gonna just cash in and just fail.
Right.
Hopefully that's not the case, especially with the work that he's put in. He deserves to have that Money in the Bank moment and succeed.
Yeah.
Just quick, I got a prediction for that.
What's up?
I said it on Turnbuckle Tabloid, and Mike gets mad at me because I guess 9 out of 10 times my predictions come out right.
This fucker said Goldberg was going to beat the Fiend, and ever since then he's been winning. And every prediction he says, it always came true.
I hate you for that one, Jay.
If they had WWE on FanDuel, I'd have been a gazillionaire right now. So here's my prediction.
This one I agree with, by the way, before you say it.
With Punk coming back, I expect one way along the line, since they're already building up the Seth Rollins and Punk feud, I believe what's going to happen is Punk is going to cause Seth to lose the belt by interference or distraction. Damian cashes in and he wins the title right then and there. And it's what will lead up to a match at WrestleMania.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, because
I kind of had the same with him getting cashed in at Royal Rumble, and then fighting Priest at Mania and losing to Priest.
Now let me ask you guys this: how would it be if Damian wins the Royal Rumble, right? But still cashed in that night, and it puts a spin on now who becomes the next in line for the WrestleMania title if Damian has already won the Rumble and he cashed in his Money in the Bank.
Yeah, because I think, Joel, you had the same prediction, I think, with The Miz years ago, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, I said it. If there was a year to do champion versus champion, it was that year. I think it was 2017 that The Miz was just going off with the IC title.
Right.
I think this is the moment. If you're gonna do a cash in with Priest and get the belt on Priest, but you still want to do Rollins and Punk, that match does not. That match is so big it doesn't need the belt. Rollins and Punk. I think you could let Priest cash in and do Gunther and Priest title versus title at Mania.
Yeah.
I always believe that people always want to have this belief that titles need to be in the main event or the staple of a big event or a big match. And I've always said, even with the possibility, which probably we see that door dwindling slowly to close, Rock and Roman doesn't need to happen with a title. It could always be about who's the true
Yeah.
tribal chief.
Exactly.
Exactly. And I do think my prediction for the cash-in is, which also can happen, if Punk wins the Rumble and Damian cashes in after the Rumble, leading to a triple threat of some sort with Rollins, Damian, and CM Punk. Or you could just wait till after Mania, where Damian's like, "Oh, my 365 days are almost up." Then we just announce my cash-in for Money in the Bank. May not be the smartest thing, but if it's what it's need to be done for him to cash in, let him do it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like at this point they put themselves in a hole where they kind of waited too long for the cash in. You know, with the whole CM Punk coming back, I think they knew that they were gonna have fans are gonna want this match with him and Rollins. Again, does not need to be for the title, but
Yeah.
they
It should be
waited
it should
too
be the
long.
main event of night one, most definitely. CM Punk and Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would give it the main.
The thing I see with Damian Priest is I can see them in a situation where he doesn't cash in for the world title, but he cashes in like on Gunther. Like I can see that scenario play out in some people's predictions. Because let's be real here, it's gonna be Cody and Roman at night two. However direction they're gonna do it, like whichever like Cody, whatever loops hurdles Cody has to go over to get the match. It's gonna be interesting to watch on Raw for those 3 hours to see, because you have Priest with the briefcase, you have Punk, Rollins, you have Drew also in the mix as well. You have Jay. The only person I see that kind of has to take a backseat to Punk is going to be Gunther, because that guy deserves the world heavyweight title. And right now,
1000%.
I could see him get the title, say like by the Germany show by SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So
I think with Gunther, they're gonna end up giving that belt to somebody who's they believe is their huge underdog. Possible Zayn maybe, Chad Gable maybe.
Yeah.
They want to put that title now. They want to make the title as prestigious as it was years ago. Gunther's been doing a hell of a job. As much as I would have liked to have put him in the MVP position, but it's one of those situations with him that it's been more like Gunther is what Gunther you get, and you already know you're gonna get a banger with him regardless. So
Right.
Gunther would have been a good spot for that. But like I gave it to Jay because of the eyes that he's been drawing because of his actions and his performance recently. But I think they want to look at the history and the prestige that title had with the Mr. Perfects, the Bret Harts, the hell, even when Miz and Dolph held it and Jericho held it. I think they really want to put that on somebody like that and have it to be somebody who's going to be on the next tier. And I think like guys like Chad Gable would be on that page.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got a question from the senior fish at Win.
The senior
Put that
referee.
Up.
Where does LA Knight? Where does LA Knight fit in any of this, or does he get his chance at winning Money in the Bank?
I'll say more than likely LA Knight will probably be facing Logan Paul at WrestleMania for the US title, because he had his match with Roman Reigns. It was one and done. That was fine with. I think they should have waited a little while, but with them doing Randy and Roman at the Royal Rumble makes sense. And they teased like months ago with Knight and Logan Paul, so it kind of makes sense as well. It's just that I think we go agree here that some of the matches we obviously know are Punk and Rollins, Uso versus Uso, Rhodes and Roman, Knight and Paul probably for night one or night two. And then the women, like, if we talk about the women's stuff, that's going to be a lot of stuff thrown up in the air as well, because there's a lot of talented women on the main roster right now. And then you have Jade Cargill, that big question mark, who I think you shouldn't put her on WrestleMania right away. She should be in NXT first, but this is WWE. This is WWE. They'll probably hot shot her.
Maybe that's why they keep her off so long. They have her training in the performance center, trying to get used to WWE style. Maybe
I heard that's why they kept her out for so long now. Is like they're still waiting for her to like get used to WWE style of wrestling before they put her out there.
They want the publicity of saying, "Hey, we snatched AEW's big women wrestler." Yeah. So let's laugh at the company now. The rival.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Jade, I see her the 30th entry at the Royal Rumble. I'm good with
I
that.
think
Yeah.
she'll be in the
and-
Rumble.
And I see her. I'm okay with her winning. I'm all right with that. If you want to put a rocket on her, that's how you're gonna do it. As for the LA Knight thing, I see. Do we see Logan holding that belt to Mania? Like, is that
Yeah.
I think
possible?
so.
I don't
so.
see him. I don't see him holding it past Mania. That's
Okay.
the thing.
That'd be
All
too
right.
much.
But
So
also,
for
he
me,
is an international star. They're doing a lot of international shows, so you never know.
right. So for me, I'm taking it with Logan Paul. If he does make it to Mania with the belt, I think it's going to be more along the lines of a fatal 4-way match for that title. They'll do that. So I would see Logan Paul, LA Knight, Kevin Owens when he's healthy, and you could get the pick of the litter of either Austin Theory or Grayson Waller, one of the two, which you're gonna end up having to break them up anyway, one way or another line to separate that. So I think one of those four will be in that match. If they'll do it at Mania, if it does occur, it'll be LA Knight getting the win there.
Maybe Braun Breaker is the fourth.
I don't think Braun would. I don't think Braun is gonna make it there, or Carmelo Hayes maybe. But I don't think. I don't see Braun going to the main roster until after Mania. I think that's what they're waiting for.
Okay.
You think he's like?
I was also thinking maybe they can just make it a ladder match like they used to do for the IC title a couple years back, but this time make it for the US Championship.
That's a good one as well.
Logan Paul already has experience in the ladder matches. He already had the Money in the Bank match last year, so I think it'd be dope to add in just a few more people and then just taking bumps here and there and someone else win it. Throw it, make it the first match of the card to get people hyped up of night 1 or night 2.
Because there's also guys like AJ Styles and Bobby Lashley who don't have clear matches for WrestleMania either, and you can put them in the mix too.
Exactly. So there's so many people you could add on to make it a fun, enjoyable match.
Omos.
Omos.
Stop it.
I would like.
Stop it.
You don't want to see him. You don't want to see him climb a ladder.
No, thank you. I'm cool on that. I'll take a.
You're not an Homo sapien.
I mean, what the fuck is with this? Like, Omos is a free agent, and technically he shouldn't be. Like, he's not on the status of Brock or CM Punk or Randy Orton, and like this guy's on house shows, like doing nothing.
Well, the reason being is because he's a novelty. He's an event. He's Andre. That's all he pretty much is. He's the new Andre. So a guy like him, you should only just bring him in when you have him in battle royals or in angles where you need the muscle or something like that. You don't really need him as a consistent performer every week or a consistent wrestler every week. He's just a novelty, and pay him just to be that.
Yeah. But every 6 months though, he just pops up like, "Oh yeah, you're still here."
Reminder, he's here.
Yeah, it's different from years ago when it was the territory days where Andre would disappear from a different territory for 6 months because he was working another territory or he's working another place. And also you got to
drinking somewhere.
Well, right, whatever the case. Well, hey, listen, I ain't mad at him. Any case, but you also got to take in consideration with athletes at that size and that age. Look at what we're looking at with Paul White. Their bodies wear down faster than the average individual who's an athlete. You got to deal with. He's what 7'4", 300 something pounds.
400.
He's got to fly from point A to point B in the most tightest of quadrants of a plane. They're not giving him a private jet. He's doing the same rounds that everybody else is doing. So, you want to pull him out when you can pull him out and make it impactful.
And right now he has MVP as a manager, and I think MVP would be used on TV, like when Jay Carlo makes her debut. MVP would be a great mouthpiece for her hype man.
Yeah. And who's not to say that she won't be cool to be, with MVP and Amos and maybe, I hate to tie all my black people's, I'm my bad fan, but listen, this is what wrestling is. This is what we do.
When I'm doing it, I'm called a racist.
But because you are. So any case, when it comes to his hood is in the closet. Believe me, he's not showing anybody right now.
As I'm wearing a white shirt.
Exactly.
You're already halfway there.
So
Damn it.
with that, you can imagine like other individuals like an Apollo Crews or Cedric Alexander getting tied into something like that, separate factions, whatever the case may be. It's I would even like to see like Bobby's crew and if that crew would occur that they look like, yo, Black Power, right? Black Power, man, get the hell out of here with that nonsense. We don't want there. And they go to war. But even still, it's like, it's good to play with it, but also think about how with Amos is what's his body can give, what the reasoning for him to be. Because everybody would sit there and say, look at him. He could, if he wanted to, he could beat most of the roster if he wanted to. But
meanwhile, they have him lose every time.
Right.
All the time.
Yeah, exactly.
They messed up on building him up to make him that kind of way that's like, oh, when we see him, it's an event.
A big attraction. Yeah.
Well, that's Vince's fault. Vince did that. And now it's people don't understand with Hunter coming in now with Triple H doing this. It's a hard reset, man. It's like what would you guys call it? Camp? Or what is it done these days? Like it's now when we have to make you guys forget what happened previously. And right now I'm playing Mortal Kombat 1, and it's like don't forget about what Johnny Cage did. Forget about Scorpion and Sub-Zero's relationship. So it's now this is what Triple H is doing these days.
Triple H has to kind of do the Men in Black meme of like put the thing in your face and like forget what happened, because I could definitely see in 2024 almost getting a new renewed push, and them just like negating everything he did last year. Like, oh, I'm gonna challenge Brock at WrestleMania, lose. Next month in Puerto Rico, I'm gonna beat up Seth Rollins, lose, and then doesn't show up till SummerSlam.
Yeah,
but those are all of his appearances all this year.
But hopefully the reset helps out, and even if it doesn't help us forget of what happened in the past, hopefully it's good enough that we don't mind it. That we're like, okay, fuck whatever happened in the past. I'm cool with what's happening right now. So hopefully, I believe in Triple H. I think he could get us to that point that's like, you know what? Forget what happened in the past.
Yeah.
Omos is the man now.
I understand. That's like, do you want to make you like what he's doing currently is going to make you want to forget what happened? You know what I mean? Like we could easily search it up, but it's like, Jay.
I love the fact that we just did a whole 5-minute, 7-minute rant about Amos. That was
I was on to mention too. Like we went from Logan Paul to
this was probably the most podcast time that he's ever gotten in any podcast ever.
His number one fans right here.
Exactly.
I want to bring this up too because it's funny we talk about that, because if we could do compare and contrast with like Triple H and Tony Khan, where Triple H utilizes the talent he has around him and builds up certain people to a certain point, where with Tony Khan, we see the same people pretty much every week. And then if we see somebody new, they show up for like a nanosecond, and then we never see them ever again. And they just, like, you guys see what I'm trying to say?
No, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I right now at this moment, I give Tony Khan a pass because it's his first time running a wrestling business. And it's like, I look at it as if I was running a wrestling business, I would do the same shit. I would put my favorites on TV.
But you're not 4 years in
but that's what I'm saying. But again, WWE's been around for how long? And Triple H came in after one of the greatest of all time that taught him this way. You know what I mean? Even though he kind of like was out of the loop for a little bit, Vince is still Vince. And he kind of helped, he helped train Triple H and see like, yo, this is how you do it. If you want to get to the fans, this is how you do it. It takes years to understand that. That's why WCW, when Bischoff took over, it was just like, it was the same shit, because it was like, this person never learned the right way of how to run a company. They're just fucking around and putting all their friends on TV and their favorites on TV.
Yeah.
Nick, right? They give you a company, right?
Yeah.
Right? They give you a company, and you have, X amount of dollars to play with, right? And you pick the free agents, the individuals that you have to play with, right? They tell you in 5 years, I don't want you to dethrone WWE, but I want you to be competitive, right?
Yeah.
They've given you you've already picked your roster, right? They've given you the time slots. They gave you 6 hours of TV, let's just say, and whatever social media you could play with, right? Once they gave you that, what's the first thing you're hiring?
What do you mean? Like, not non-wrestler wise, right?
Not
Yeah.
wrestler, non-wrestler wise.
Whew, it's a good question. I would definitely, obviously, I think the obvious answer would probably be like the producers backstage that know what they're doing, right? Because you would want people who were around the wrestling business for years, not just a wrestler who's wrestled for 5 years, knowing what they're doing, because that's different. You know what I mean? If I hire Danielson to be my producer, will it be good? Yeah, of course. But I'd rather hire Jimmy Jacobs, who's been around the producing games for much longer than that. Because I'd rather trust Jimmy than Danielson. They know what they're doing.
Okay.
Or
That's what I would do.
You did that, right? You did that, right? That is a producer, right? You got that, right?
Yeah.
They're producers there. It's producing matches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you could flip it for what's the next thing I'm thinking about. What individuals will be the next that you put into place for that?
Oof. I would probably
because people tend to forget that there's a difference between one and the other. But go ahead.
I would probably, I don't know if this necessarily be like a higher type of move, but I would definitely separate the rosters in terms of like who should be on one show and who should be on the other.
Okay.
Because from what I'm seeing with AEW is like they're using a lot of the same people for both shows. And it's like, was it cool? Yeah, we get to see Danielson 2 nights a week. But we're also getting Danielson 2 nights a week. And, you know, I'd rather see Andrade every Saturday night competing for their top prize and then have Danielson do his thing on Wednesday nights. So that way I'm getting the best of both. I know Angel just wrote, I just saw Angel's comment. He said writers. Writers are a good thing too.
That's one of the
you also need people to
hire.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's probably one of the most obvious ones, writers, because you know,
or in the game they call it bookers because they're the ones that book the angles.
Yeah.
You so what happened? Let people run around booking their own shit.
And this is what's happening.
Yeah.
The boys are running their own angles.
Yep.
Or what happened was, and I talked about it on the live stream I did yesterday, which is going to be on this week's Turnbuckle Tabloid. Shout out to Turnbuckle Tabloid. Any case,
shout out,
shout out to my own show.
So with that, Tony had a plan for the first 3 years. And his first 3 years was he had a legit storyline that he had built for 3 years. He did 2K23 booking. He did that for 3 years. He had a start, a finish, and his finish was get Hangman Page the title. Got that. During that time, he didn't know that, which was a very smart move by Vince, was I'm going to let all these guys out and let me see what you could do with them. I'm going to release them from their contracts. Let me see what you do with them. And Tony caught the bait. He grabbed a lot of these dudes, threw a monkey wrench in all of their programming, everything. Yep. You brought in Keith Lee, you brought in Swerve, you did all this stuff. You brought them all in. Some are good, some are bad. You brought in Miro, you did all that. But yet, now your 3 years is done.
What's next?
What's been happening after that? You didn't bring in the right people into play now. You had people like Kevin Sullivan, who you just released. Kevin Sullivan's gone.
Yeah.
One of the most brilliant minds in wrestling, regardless if you think he's old school, but still the man who knows the business. Regal gone. Regal said, fuck this, I'm not dealing with this anymore. He's out of here.
Yeah.
He gave you the excuse, whatever. I want to be with my son. Yeah, whatever.
He didn't even last a full year.
QT Marshall. Wow. QT Marshall. Yeah. I'd rather wrestle in Mexico. whatever.
Yeah. He
has his own dreams of what he wants to do.
So something in there that's going on that, and your biggest supporter that was there at launch was the first one to jump shit.
Yeah,
Cody Rhodes. Yeah. So we could play armchair quarterback about what's really going on there, but to be honest with you, we could see it on the peripheral. Like there's some things that's not right here.
Yeah.
Certain EVPs are speaking their minds, and they want the company to be run the way they want it to be. They just want, like, I do think, like, some statements like Jim Cornette says like, oh, they just want it to be like PWG or that type of shit with TV. I could see it that way, but also I don't know because I think the Young Bucks are at fault here for a lot of stuff that goes on TV. Because when you look at a lot of the hires, like your Brandon Cutlers, your Cole Cabanas, like they're very talented, very funny, but they're strictly like indie guys. Like they're not televised. Like they're not like ready for television, or their style doesn't match what. Because if you're flipping the channel and you see them, an average viewer is gonna be like, "What the fuck am I looking at?"
Yeah.
Like Michael Nakazawa. Like when he first showed up, we have never seen him. He's still under contract, and this guy's been there since day one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hasn't been on TV. Like,
I mean, he's just collecting that check. He's chilling.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Yeah,
on this past Wednesday on Dynamite when Riho came out, that reaction was so mixed because it was like, oh, here we go again. Let's try it. Let's try again.
Yeah.
Like,
I get it.
And I feel bad for guys like Keith Lee and like Jay Lethal who get like TV time, but they get relegated to let's
Briscoe.
put over. Well, I'm happy like Mark Briscoe is at least under contract now, but like be damned, like if if Jay was still here, it would have been so much better on TV to have the Briscoes around.
Finally have them on TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Nick?
Nick, let me ask you. I like asking Nick questions. So.
Put
him in the hot seat.
Put Nick on the spot.
What was your thought about the whole Hangman MJF confrontation?
That's interesting because, I honestly didn't expecting that to happen on Wednesday, but it was pretty interesting to see because hopefully it sets up a future feud between the two. I mean, it's interesting.
Why, Jay, what's your take on it? You came out of nowhere.
No, I want to hear more of Nick. I was just like in the background, just going, nobody did.
No one did. But like, I love the interaction. It was a great back and forth, interaction between the two, and hopefully it does lead up to something that we've never seen. I don't think we've ever seen a programming between Hangman and MJF. Now since it's hopefully for the title, I know MJF is rumored to have dislocated his shoulder. Supposedly, so I don't know how healthy he is to even continue with this programming after Samoa Joe. So that's also plays into this question. I'm like, if he gets hurt facing Samoa Joe, with the injured shoulder, is it a smart move to have him continue wrestling after this, or to give him a break, lose the title for a little bit?
Well, at this point, I think the usage of MJF has been like over 9,000. Let's be real here. For the past year, like they've been using MJF more than let's say the past 2 years, where he would wrestle on pay-per-view and then do a lot of promos and talk a lot on TV. But now that he's transitioned over to like a top babyface role, they've been using him a lot more. This guy currently has 2 belts in 2 different companies, technically. Yeah. But I'll say for World's End, just drop the title to Joe. Let Joe hold the title for a few months. Like, what's so wrong with that? And then, because also you still got the storyline of what the bidding war of 2024. Where's MJF going to go? Let the devil reveal himself. Let him screw MJF out of the title. And then say by Revolution or Double or Nothing, like, let MJF come back. Fully healthy.
Which also questions is, like, I feel like they haven't really brought up that bidding war 2024 stuff in so long.
On purpose.
Yeah, but it's
because why would the top babyface go, hey, I love you guys, but in 2024 I'll go somewhere else. I'll go say hi to the other con. Like, why would they run into that situation where if he was still healed, then it'd be perfect for him to say that. But now that he's the top babyface, it's like, no, like I'm your scumbag, but I'm not gonna leave you. Like, he can't do that on TV.
I feel like it's kind of obvious at that point to be like, oh, he might be staying now because he loves the company so much. Why would he all of a sudden be like, oh, I'm leaving? Unless he is the devil and supposedly that's how he leaves. He's like, oh,
that's true.
I screwed myself over because I don't want to be here anymore. So I don't want to make it look like I lost cleanly because someone else did it, but I did it to myself because I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, well, I think that was the whole thing with the Hangman little promo they did. I think it was just to throw a swerve in there so you think, oh man, like when MJF was down, there was a beer bottle next to him. Maybe Hangman's the devil. It was just to play into that. Maybe they'll do something down the road. I'm really cool with not seeing Hangman in the title picture right now. Yeah. Keep him far away from there.
Well, I
Yeah.
think the last two clues that they've been leading to the devil is glass, and who's the one that got suspended over said glass,
Mhm.
and he hasn't been on
Yeah.
TV since.
And there's no reason for him not to be on TV right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they said like there was a report weeks during the week they said that they have no plans for Jack Perry. I think you do, and then also he's trademarking all the Jungle Boy stuff, so that's gonna be interesting to see
Yeah.
where in the year. But he should be the devil. It's gonna be him, Wardlow, fucking Dolph Ziggler, and his brother. It's gonna be like a weird looking faction going
Yeah.
into the new year.
And everybody's gonna sit there and go, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna think. It's like I'm gonna see it and be like, this is random. And I kind of hope it's not like the Firm, where it's like, oh, just 5 random guys be like just there for MJF and just bye. We don't see you for another forever. You know, it's like I hope it's not just random people thrown in just for the fuck of it. If
Joel.
they're gonna throw people in together, just make it make sense.
I really hope it's the embassy, to be honest.
Joel, let me ask you.
What's up?
Do you think he signed?
Yeah.
You think he already resigned?
I think he already resigned.
I think honestly,
And I think they're just keeping it away from everybody. I think he resigned a while ago.
yeah, I think he resigned, and I really, and I talked to Mike and M2 Inc. Shout out to our boy M2 Inc. on reality, wrestling in reality. We said this. I think he resigned, and I think he's scared of the WWE. I think he's scared.
Yeah.
I think you're not going to be able to do what you want to do like you're doing in AEW. I think that the tees actually raise your money, which is good. That you're supposed to do that. That's what it is. The threat that's there. He's still young. That possibility of him jumping to WWE could happen in the next 4 or 5 years, whatever. You're still a young dude, and you're still gonna hone your craft. But at the end of the day, I think with him knowing that he has that connect with Cody staying, possibly going to stay there, going to be bigger and better things. And who knows? Cody could probably, if everything goes well, he'll be the next in line like Triple H in that place. He'll be the next one to do that. Yep. He knows he has a job secure somewhere. So he could play around and do the goofy shit here, but he could also tell Tony, if I don't get my way, I'm gone. Whatever you get, you get. So I really think that he resigned. I'm not too keen on the bidding war of 2024.
Let me ask you all of this. I know this is kind of a little bit off topic, but it does revolve AEW. Since we did talk about WWE's MVP, who do you think was AEW's for 2023? Who held it down this year for them?
I mean, I'll kick it off. I think it was Swerve. I think Swerve's been the MVP this year. And you could just see like the way he's been growing. Like when he got released and first picked up by AEW, you could go back to the episodes. I was not a fan. He's one of the few. Him and Jay White have been 2 guys that have made me go back on my word and say, you know what? No, I fucked up. This guy is legit.
You were down on Jay White when he first signed?
Yeah, when he was doing the Ring of Honor shave, he had to have his head shaved. I was just like, before he got to New Japan, like the early days that he was just in the tights, kick pads, jumping off the ropes at Hammerstein.
Basic wrestler.
Yeah, I was like, this is just like a creative wrestler. You just put tights on. You know what I mean? But then that transition and the growth that he had in New Japan, and then becoming the man that he did and becoming leader of the Bullet Club made me change my whole tone on Jay White. Same thing with Swerve. Was not a fan when he first came in. This past year has changed my mind about him, and there's no doubt that he should be getting the title soon. He should, or at least in the title picture.
Yeah,
he definitely deserves that. That's why I personally I don't think it's them, but I would like it to be the Embassy, and I would like it's just to be like a Swerve and have it be Swerve. And be like, I'm just coming for your title. Like, just a brand new introduction to, all right, he's in the title picture now. I know it kind of makes no sense because they have no like, past together, but you could still make it work. If you hire the right writers, you can make it tie in.
I would put Swerve in the most improved category in 2023 because I think from this year compared to last year, he's improved. You know, he's put on great stories and matches, but if I had to choose an MVP, it would have to be MJF. I feel like this whole story and stuff with Adam Cole throughout the year made me care about MJF. I mean, not like I didn't before, but it was like, you know, the whole thing with this whole devil stuff now, and from when he started this tag team, Adam Cole, I didn't care about that. I'm like, this looks stupid on paper, but each week as they went into it, it made me care, and it was enjoyable to watch. It was must-see TV. That's the only thing that I was looking forward to on television every Wednesday night. So that made me want to watch Dynamite every week. You can definitely add in Adam Cole, but he's been out as of recent. But I think MJF had more matches this year that was watchable more than Swerve. Swerve one was the recent
that
one.
Iron Man match was ridiculous.
Yeah, and he had the match. When did he have that match?
February.
That was February, the Iron
February at Revolution.
Great.
He's had tons of great matches after that.
The four-way is his only one. I think out of this world title defenses, you could say weren't up to par, but I think that wasn't on him. That was just the storyline going into it.
Yeah.
And Joel, I respect your pick for Swerve. It's just that I think his momentum didn't pick up until the summer.
Okay.
Because the first half of the year, I can't remember what he was doing.
Yeah.
But until they put Brian Cage, until they put Prince Nana next to Swerve, and he's doing the silly dancing, and then Swerve coming out and just kicking ass.
Yeah.
That's when he picked up. I will say I like the MJF pick, but I will say the guy that nearly has killed himself the past year, I'll give it to Bryan Danielson. I mean, because from the beginning of the year with the whole MJF stuff, and then we finally had the Okada match, and then we had the Zack Sabre Jr. match. I think match quality, besides whatever we feel right now about him being that kid from Recess, reporting to Miss Finster, to Tony Khan, that Bryan Danielson has been the best on-screen worker character on TV, where you see him falling apart, but he's like, "Fuck it, I'm not going down."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also from the first half of the year, the stuff with Keith Lee was like, I didn't care about it until, like you said, Mike, until he got with Prince Nana and them. It was like, now I care about Swerve.
Until the Mobile Embassy was a thing.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I just feel it was important when Swerve was on TV. We got MJF every week cutting a promo. It was kind of like that time that was just like, Punk is cutting a promo. And I was like, of course he is. Like, what else is he gonna fucking do?
Yeah.
My MVP goes to Orange Cassidy because everyone knows how much of a fan I am of Orange Cassidy.
Stop lying.
I believe him holding that title brought significant. All right, I can't even do it to myself.
Thank you.
I was agreeing with you. I was like,
I got a bad taste in my mouth when I was even fucking saying that. It was terrible.
But Nick, here's the funny thing. I feel like if I would say Orange Cassidy would be he'd be in the top 5 the wrestlers. Sure. But Jay doesn't see that at all. He's like, fuck him.
And I'm gonna tell you why. And I'm gonna split the MVP for this year because number one. The initial MVP that should get it is CM Punk. Punk should get it because of the numbers that he resonated when he was starting off Collision when he came back. That's
I
one.
Can see that.
Was he around for the full year?
Listen, for what he did with Collision and starting off, that was enough. That was great because you needed somebody to do the flagship show. You had to do that.
You needed that big name to build it.
You needed to build that, and coming back from injury. You already popped a show doing that. I would give that. But the one that I say wholeheartedly that deserves the MVP is MJF because he pops the ratings. He pops viewership. He is must-see TV on that show. And they got him working like a dog. He's the new Stone Cold Steve Austin and during the Attitude Era. It's him versus whoever, and he's gonna pop it. Yeah, he could wrestle Riho, and people will watch the shit. He could. What's the dude? Sriracha.
Sriracha.
Is it Sriracha? I'm gonna make a wrestler in WWE 2K. I'm gonna call him Sriracha. I'm gonna make him Sriracha. I'm gonna make him all red. I'm gonna just make him fiery. He's gonna be a luchador.
MJF versus Gravity.
And mind you, it's funny that I say sriracha because he doesn't like spice. So it's funny that I say that. But even still, you got to give it to him. I mean, it's must see TV with him. Regardless of the shitty storyline that they're gonna end up finishing off with him, he sat there and he's a true company guy and eating it. He's put his body on the line. He's had probably out of all the pay-per-views, 3 out of 4 best match of them all. I mean, you could say that maybe all in wasn't really his better match of them all, but even still, like, no one there has been able to pull off what he's been able to pull off consistently during the year.
Okay, that's
I
a
agree
good
with
case
that,
for him.
yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
give you that. I'll give you MJF for that.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out who Sriracha is. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, listen, listen.
Very underrated.
He used to tag team with Curry Man. You better watch that. That's a really good. It's a good team.
Just you saying a co-MVP for CM Punk is kind of silly for
Nah,
AEW.
I could see it with the build up of Collision. Like without
okay.
CM Punk on that card, you can't build up Collision. There was nobody that could have taken that spot. Even if you did Kenny Omega, it wasn't gonna have the reaction that Punk had.
But the thing is, too, since the start of Collision, I think a lot of the storylines did not revolve around CM Punk.
And not only that, his merch was still selling. They only watched Collision because he was gonna be there. That's the only reason why people were gonna watch it. The only the way they look, and I hate to go to rating shit because I don't really like believe in all this stuff, but that's what advertisement and the company promotions look for. When they lost, they only lost because Punk wasn't there, or they were going head to head to against a WWE pay-per-view, a PLE. That's the only time they really were losing numbers. Other than that, once that announcement happened during a WWE PLE that Punk will no longer be in the company, it died. And it goes to show you how impactful a person can be once they're gone. Yeah. Fast forward to Survivor Series. It's like, come on.
Like, I agree with you, Jay. Like he is a merch seller. Like he gets a lot of people's attention. But ever since like the whole like all in like brawl out, whatever the fuck you want to call it, brawl out number 2, I think all 4 of us can like have like different opinions on the whole theory of like, should Tony Khan have fired CM Punk? Is he like? I think now it's definitely slapping him in the face because there's reports of like the AEW roster being unhappy, and you can already tell like, well, like as soon as I look at Andrade, I can just see on his face, I don't want to be here. I want to go somewhere else. Why the hell am I here? I mean, we're talking about like when they promoted Collision and Andrade is tweeting out, wait, I'm on that show now? Like Andrade didn't even know, like, oh, I'm going to be on Saturday? And then Miro be like, oh, well, I'm on Saturday now? Like, what? The whole show was created for one person, CM Punk. And then in the span of 3.5 months, he's trying to choke out Jack Perry, and he gets fired for it.
Yeah, and then Angel brought it up in the comments earlier. It's like, what are your thoughts on the whole AEW locker room moral being very low and wrestlers getting fined for their frustration on social media?
I will say for the morale part, I think a lot of them are looking towards the future in the new year. So I don't have a list of people's contracts of like who's expired in 2024. But if I'm Tony Khan and I'm Bryan Danielson, I'm looking at the whole roster where if it's over 300, I'm looking to downsize that shit to maybe like a lot. Because like you have a lot of people. Like Bandito's talented, but he's hurt and you're not really using him on TV. You can cut losses with him. Keith Lee, you're not doing anything with him. Cut him. Yeah. There's so many people on the roster
that are just signed to be signed.
Yeah, they're there.
And I know when WWE does it, everybody's like, "Oh fuck you, WWE! Like how dare you? Like these people needed jobs, all that shit." But at the end of the day, if you're not doing your job, or like we're not giving, like I understand like a lot of people are named like the night on TV, but you can't have these people under a contract and not give them the time. Like you're just wasting their time too, because they could be on the indies. I mean, you can look at Keith Lee and Jay Lethal. You can send their asses to Impact, and they be in the main event scene right now.
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah, I'm gonna direct this to Nick because I think you're cute. Any case,
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
I've been aiming at a lot of questions here. No, but the AEW has 100 because I pulled it up yesterday because I spoke about it on the show. 125 male on the roster.
Shit.
125
compared to like women like 40.
30. Good look, Mike. 39 women on the roster. 39.
One off.
What can you do with that?
If I were Tony Khan, I would
with 5 hours of TV, and I'm not even including the Ring of Honor roster, and it's only 5 hours of TV you got.
Correction, there's no Ring of Honor roster. It's all just AEW people.
Yeah, it's mainly AEW.
Nah, but you got those tie-ins that
they kind of separate
like
them
the Christian
and
Blakes and
exactly. Yeah, those kind of dudes.
But what I would do, I wouldn't be the biggest fan of it, but I feel like it's one of the only choices they have is to make a woman's show. You know, whether it's on YouTube or a streaming platform, is to make that's how I would do it. They get no time anyway.
That's too much content for them.
You're just adding more TV time for people that you could. If you have 5 hours, like Jason, but the thing is, to Jay's point, you have 5 hours of TV. You don't have any time to put another women's match on the show besides one.
Mike, what do you think about? What do I think about women's wrestling?
Oh, you hate it, and you think it's always the piss break?
No.
Turned it on you.
I hate when he says that. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Meanwhile, you always you want the women to run the ropes like men.
Yes. Why not?
Okay, but guess what? They're women. They can't run like men.
What are you talking about? Becky does it.
Don't even look at
Charlotte does it. Bianca does it. Bailey does it.
Yeah.
Even little ass fucking Roxy. She does it. Alexa Bliss does it.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's another issue glaring there when you say all those names. They were trained to do that in the AEW women's. They bring in talented people.
No, whose fault is that? I mean,
cokehead Tony.
But even and I bash women's wrestling for it as well. Matter of fact, we went to an indie show and I saw a women's match and I yelled out piss break and I went to the bathroom. But
an all women's show.
And it's unfortunate, Nick, but we saw what happened when you have a women's show. As in, what was it? They called it in WWE.
Evolution.
Was it Evolution?
Evolution, yeah.
Nobody watched that shit. Nobody saw that.
Except
listen,
you watched it?
I watched it. Me and Ray were hanging out watching the show.
What were we? Wow, I was drunk. So
you probably didn't remember there was.
He was there, but he wasn't looking at the TV.
I was there, but I wasn't there, quote unquote. No, but when you think about it, you know, when it comes to women's wrestling, when it's good and professional, there's a certain niche to it, and there's a certain genre and demo that likes it. You know, Shimmer gets over, Shine, those shows, they get over because they have that target audience. But you're not going to pull in, hundreds of thousands that you're going to think that you're going to get. What needs to happen is I don't know if you guys how many of you guys play Madden? Any of you guys play Madden or right?
I used to.
Yeah, you ever play like franchise mode?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you get the 3 decisions, and I use this reference often on my show all the time. You get 3 choices to pick. You pick for owners. You get the money guy, the fan base guy, and you get the player guy that's going to run a team. And Tony is the player guy. He wants to make the players happy, their attributes raise up, but you got to sell to the fan base. And if you're not able to sell to the fan base, you're not gonna get shit. What Tony really needs to do is cut the fat and get 125 men on a roster for a 5-hour show is ridiculous. That's a lot.
Get it to at least down to, like I say, 80 or at least 75.
Exactly. Or send most of them to Ring of Honor. I mean, I know some of them are already on there, but like
Nick, you watch Ring of Honor?
I want to get into Ring of Honor. So that's why I'm saying
that was such a Ring of Honor answer. I want to get into it.
Yeah, but it's
right now, Ring of Honor, they're doing a blood feud between like Tony Nese and Ethan Page. If I told But if I told any average AEW fan about that, they go, "Wait, really?" Like, yeah. I mean, like Final Battle, they're pulling out all the stops for the main event. Danielson, Claudio, and Will Yuta against Mark Briscoe and FTR in a Jay Briscoe tribute match.
And I get the reasoning for that, but they haven't been on Ring of Honor in weeks. Like, they're not on Ring of Honor.
Will Yuta is the pure champion.
Yeah, but he's not even wrestling. I mean, it's Mox, Danielson, and Claudio.
Yeah,
you know, so. And they haven't, like I said, they're not regulars on.
And the problem with them is that you never know if they heal 1 week or babyface the next. And it's not even a week. It's in like the span of a week, but like each different day. It's like, oh, Mox is a face today. He's a heel tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird. And then like,
or depending the situation he's in.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the MVP thing because I think we left out an important name.
Who's the MVP of Ring of Honor?
No, not fucking Ring of Honor. I think when you think about AEW MVPs, Christian Cage has to be on the list.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, Christian is on the run of his life right now.
When MJF turned like full on babyface, Christian Cage took that step to top heel. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you guys felt about the match on Wednesday with Nick Wayne's mother interfering.
It was a good match. The ending was just bad. There's nothing else you could say about it. It was fucking terrible.
If Tony Khan would have did like his own version of the Montreal screw job, like people would be destroying him right now.
Oh yeah.
Because I saw on Twitter they're like, oh, they're in Montreal. Guess what they're gonna do for the finish?
Yeah. I thought it was gonna be.
That is the go-to.
Yeah, honestly.
I thought it was gonna be Jordan Oliver, the one that come out and help, but then that also would have been a risk because like not a lot of AEW casuals know who Jordan Oliver is, right? Unless you're a diehard independent wrestling fan.
I like how you mentioned it because I almost forgot he was a team of Nick Wayne, and you know what? If Christian Cage needs lackeys or like his own version of his own kids, Jordan Oliver would be a solid pickup.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Oh no.
Shout out to Jordan Oliver. I love him. He was on our show not too long ago. He's a good dude, but like. This is what AEW is. They're ready to sign like people, and your rosters are already inflated. It's
that'd be 126
exactly. And then I don't know if you guys saw. Did you guys see the HOG video of Nana giving Ken Broadway a business card? Like, what is that about? Like 127, maybe. It's like I give it to you guys. You're right. The Christian Cage thing has been great, but the only reason why I was signified with MVP with MJF was because of the turn. Nobody would have really believed that he turned face, and it was bought into. And I don't even think he would have believed that it was bought into that way, but it was, and it was done in a proper execution. But Christian has it's. I could often say it's that anybody else who did it, you would look at him as a one-trick pony because they'll say like, you keep talking about people's dead fathers and put them in an angle with people's dead fathers. Then that's all it is, and it'll make it fun. But I think right now it works best because of it's him being a one-trick pony, and I think he's made it a staple of why he was needed for that. And far be it for me to say the TNT title is actually relevant, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Compared
to a Dynamite.
Compared to a year ago, where that belt was like on Wardlow when they weren't doing jack shit with it.
And it was flip flopping every 5 days.
It's
I'm
ridiculous.
telling you, man, Christian's that reason. He's having one of the best runs right now. I think he's having a better comeback than Edge did with WWE. I think he's just been killing it. I've always been a Christian Cage fan. I thought it was awesome when he went to TNA back in the day. It was awesome to see him as champion not too long ago. Shout out Christian Cage because that match at All Out against Kenny Omega was phenomenal, but it just gets overshadowed.
It got overshadowed by Cole and then Bryan Danielson.
But nobody talks about that match.
Yeah,
like that was such a good match. Shout out fucking Christian Cage, man. Yeah. I know that was a couple years ago, but still, like he's been killing it.
Yeah,
I think we all agree here that by the story for 2023 between like who did better between WWE and AEW. Like WWE financially did much better, but I think creatively and like on screen stuff type of stuff, WWE took a massive step up over AEW, and that's not even including like the CM Punk controversy, all that type of stuff. Just like the quality of the stuff that we see every week.
Yeah.
WWE did so much better than AEW. Like AEW took like 5 steps back.
So what, Joel? Do you think about it like this? When we heard the old man was finally stepping down, and this was in
2 years ago,
2022 and such. But wait, 2022, the old man was finally stepping down. We said, nah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Didn't he like return for a brief month or two this year? Yeah.
He waited to the new year.
And this was gonna ask you, Joel. Did you think that he was actually like shadow puppeting Triple H in the back?
Definitely was.
You think
Yeah,
so?
definitely.
Really?
Yeah.
At the beginning when he first stepped down, because nothing changed. It was the same thing. It really didn't take a big transition until like the beginning of this year. At the beginning of this year, and with the whole TKO thing, after that whole thing happened, it was like a night and day, I think, with booking.
Well, then
not
then
night
we
and
got-
day, but it transitioned slowly to where it looks like a Triple H show.
Then we,
The Raw after WrestleMania was probably that Raw
Yeah.
after WrestleMania has Vince McMahon's fingerprints all over it.
Yeah.
One-
I was gonna mention that.
And when TKO merged and they all make a decision, they looked at that show and they said, "We are never doing that again."
Yeah.
That was like Vince's last chance. Honestly,
Yeah.
let's be real here. They're like, "Say, you know what?
It was like a
Let's
Hail
see
Mary.
let's see what we have left." And Vince gave him that, and TKO said, "No,
Not today. Yeah.
This is what I say, Nick. It was like we had to put Abuelo in the corner so he could watch his porno or his game shows. we had to put Vince in the corner and say, "Okay, Papi,
Where's
Yeah,
Omos?
yeah,
Where's Omos?"
you still run the company. Just
say yes.
trust
Just
me.
say yes. You do.
We'll get you the TV dinner later. Don't worry about it,
Just
Papa.
say
We
it.
got
Chill
you.
out.
Yeah, but it does feel different now compared to a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, the way it's been running. So I think now Triple H has full control. Vince might be there,
God.
but he's not doing shit.
Yeah,
feel
I
like.
think he's more there for like input. I think it's not. I think now it's an opinion. It's not like, oh, you have to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
but
more like,
if
oh,
I'm Triple H,
Vince-
if I'm Triple H and I hear Vince McMahon, it's going from one ear to out the other.
But I think with Triple H that he's worked with him so long, I think Triple H could weed out like, okay, that doesn't sound great, but if you make a twist to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's been with him so many
I can-
years
I
that
can
he
definitely
probably
see
knows
that.
how to twist things into a good thing.
Like Triple H hears one part of the sentence, he goes, "Okay, and then let me do this instead." Because I mean, I know you guys said it before. You don't really watch NXT. I do think you guys should give NXT a chance because compared to what it was before, when Vince like completely took Triple H's sledgehammer and destroyed the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Like it's gotten so much better now. It's night and day with NXT as well.
I'm like back and forth on it. I'm like, I watch one episode, then I'll be like, maybe I'll skip next week, and then I'm like, I don't know. It's just really hard to get into fully, for me. So yeah, I don't know what it is. I like some of the matches, some of the people, but it's still not fully convincing for me to get into it completely.
I see what you mean. Because also there's a lot of wrestling during the week, and like, I'm gonna fit another 2-hour show into my week.
I'll tell you one thing though. The one thing that hit me this week that I said this is not a Vince show was there was the match between Judgment Day and the Creed brothers, right? Creed is like Creed brothers. I remember me thinking of them early in the days as they were greener than Kermit the Frog's asshole, right? I was like, they were green as shit.
Yeah.
Now these guys are they've shown and proved that they can step it up.
Yeah.
So that
Julius kid is a freak.
Yeah.
They did a match. They did the match. After the match, Damian Priest goes to the back and he's talking to JD McDonough and Dominic, and he asks him about the match. And Dominic and JD, they said, "Yo, no, these guys are legit. Keep your eye out for the title. You guys got to be on point for real." In a Vince era, that would have never happened. That promo would have never happened. This is legit storytelling. This is putting people over without doing it in the ring and legitimately building storytelling. Anywhere else, that would have never happened. And I was like, that's when you know legitimately they're taking this shit serious.
it's like a sport for them now.
Yeah, exactly.
Most
That is true. And I know Deadline is happening on Saturday.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Tomorrow. Okay, yeah. Tomorrow.
Back to
I mean,
Michael,
I'm not going to sell you on Baron Corbin in the main event for the NXT title, but I mean, think about it like that. Think about it like this: Baron Corbin has improved a lot from going back from the main roster going back to NXT. I will say that.
1,000%. So I don't watch NXT, but I keep up with the highlights, and I
mean, Dragunov is probably their best in-ring worker in NXT.
Most definitely.
Because you have him, Hayes, Breaker. They're definitely going to be the future main eventers in this company.
Most definitely.
Because, I mean, once Dragunov gets to the main roster, you got to put him and Gunther in the ring.
You got to.
Yeah, you have to.
You have Kamala Hayes, like Trick Williams is getting over, which I didn't think was going to happen, like the way he got over recently. But you can see, like with the Creed brothers, like what Jay was saying, there was green as goose shit. There was like 2 random members of Diamond Mines. Like, do you remember that fucking faction?
Yes.
Yeah, it was Roger.
That was right before I stopped watching. I was like,
yeah.
And then you have Julius Creed, who's getting like the whole, he's the next Kurt Angle treatment already.
I even like the tease where they had the Creed brothers and
Chad Gable.
Alpha Academy in the back, and the fans already, especially me. I told Mike before, I said it would be dope if they would have them join up in there, and Chad Gable went up to him and approached him about it, and they were like, "That's cool right now, but right now we have this going." I was like, "Oh, that's dope!" Like I was thinking that.
That's definitely gonna be that's gonna definitely be a future thing.
And I think it's a great turn for WWE's creative, and this is why I'm happy to say that in a not a physical form, because that's what Mike has been asking for the longest. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Yeah, Mike, you want Vince dead. But
just something bad. Just something bad to happen to the old man for once in his life.
Right. But creatively, I'm glad that they've acknowledged, like, yeah, let's just leave him in the corner and have him like give him lotion socks. He'll be okay. He'll be all right.
No, enough with the lotion.
Like he'll figure it out, man.
He'll figure it out, yeah.
But
and the Creed brothers are one of the first, I believe, like homegrown talents since 2.0 that get called up.
Right, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
So that's pretty dope to see.
And then with the women in NXT right now, I mean, when 2.0 started, they introduced 12 new women to us, and my head was spinning, going like, who the fuck is who are you now?
I feel like that happens a lot too. It's like every week I see on social media there's someone new. I'm like, who the fuck is this now? I just found out about this person last week, and I'm like,
but you gotta give credit to Shawn Michaels too, because unlike Tony Khan, Shawn's willing to put 3 women's matches on the show and give them enough time for them to develop their ring stuff and their character work.
But again,
listen,
a wrestling mind, baby, HBK is nobody to mess with. I think Angel said earlier, Swerve credits him for the character he has now for his time in NXT.
I think
it makes sense.
Yeah, but the same can be said with Raw, which is, look, you had a 3-hour show with Raw. You could at least put 2 women's matches that's legit and give them some kind of something. Or the 3-hour Raw. Like, you can give them time and let them showcase something. Let them, even if it's just backstage stuff, 2 matches, maybe 3 if it's available and such. You can do that. And I think right now that's what they've been doing. They've been able to do that. I was kind of weary about giving them the main event. A lot of their shows, because their target audience isn't really like horny older guys in that demo. Their real target audience is horny little boys. And honestly, and I say that for real. I say that because a lot of kids that come with their fathers to the indie shows they don't come for the dudes. They come to see the women wrestling.
Use a different word. Don't say come. Don't say come. Don't say kids come.
Why not? They're gonna come one way or another. I mean, whatever's advertised, right? Right? Oh God! Is that what we're doing here?
This will be the last. This will be the last time we're on this.
Maybe we should end it right now. I don't know.
Is that a good point?
No, but a lot of times when I see their fathers bring their kids and we talk about wrestling, he's here for the women that's wrestling for the time. Masha Slamovich or Jasmine St. Clair. No, she's a porno star. I'm not gonna say her. It's somebody, but they come for the women, and that's I think that's a target that they should put the women on between 8 and 10 because kids got to go to school, and that's who they want to see during that time. It's a smart move that they do that. Yeah, exactly.
Jay, they're there for Violet.
Nobody's there for Violet. Stop it. Don't put this show to a screeching halt. Don't do that.
Oh, damn.
Horrible.
That had a nerve right there.
Oh, Jesus. Let's just say her matches will make a dick limp. I'll just say that.
Anything else?
Yeah. Anything else, Jay?
MVPs?
I'm good. I'm good. It's let's just say that Viagra is prescribed when I have to watch that match. I'll leave it at that. They're gonna hate me in my story. They're gonna hate me.
What else happened in the last week that you guys want to talk about?
Yo, Okada going back to TNA. What the
fuck? Yeah.
The man said he'd never work for TNA again. He's back, baby. Well, it is different owner, so it makes sense.
I mean, when you're Okada and you're starting off and you have to sell flyers with Jay Lethal next to the Blue Man Group in Orlando, you kind of you want to kill yourself at that point and be like, fuck me. I mean, when he first started in TNA as whatever the fuck he was like the Green Hornet cosplay guy. Yep. And then he goes to New Japan. He makes himself as the greatest wrestler on God's green earth. And then,
but he was still a young boy when he was doing that TNA run, right?
Yeah, New Japan said basically put him through the ringer, and they put him through the ringer.
My man said, "I'll never go back."
Now I think the elephant's in the room where in 2024 we're talking about free agents. Okada is a free agent, and I highly doubt he leaves New Japan, but I was telling you guys off air, I was like, can you imagine if he goes to WWE?
I don't think so. I don't think that would
the ace of New Japan leaves for WWE. Why? Because he likes what they're doing with Shinsuke Nakamura. And he thinks, let me see if I can get that.
I mean, they went 0-2 with Jay White and Will Ospreay getting those signings. So would it be cool to see him in WWE? Of course, I would love to see him there. Yeah. But I highly doubt they're going to make that move. They got to try the hardest to get Okada to join them and try to convince him to go there over AEW or TNA.
I think Okada needs to stay in New Japan. He's an attraction. To see him every week is gonna mess up his character.
Or he's gonna ruin the aura of who he is.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say about Okada, the possibility of going to WWE, is that he does have friends there. I mean, legit friends. Nakamura is a legit friend, and Nakamura, his transition to WWE, regardless of what you guys say, and I've always said it on Turnbuckle Tabloid, was like he doesn't care. He's in the States. He's got a house. He's able to surf. He's chilling, and he's making good money. He's always he's talked about with people like. I was able to flourish and bring my family over. I don't have to deal with the headache. And you guys don't understand. There's a big political issue that's going on in Japan in the next couple of months. And a lot of those talents might want to be able to move away from that to get stateside and such. So with WWE, he, like I said, he has that relationship with Nakamura. He has that relationship with Cody. He has that relationship with even the Good Brothers and AJ. Like they still have that kind of thing. And if you could bring him in with a not a part-timer thing, but a situation to where that you could make him the guy that people don't know in New Japan and bring it over. As in this really top tier, excellent wrestler and showcase it, I think he'll be fine. I think the past couple of weeks, this has been the sell. You see what they've been doing with the women. They've been putting the Japanese wrestlers front and center. You brought Kairi Sane back. Kairi Sane was done and gone. She looked like she was never going to come back.
Thanks, Naya.
And you got Nakamura now in the middle of a big match build up with Cody. and I think this is good. Their selling point. They're gonna do that pitch. So Okada being out of WWE's realm of possibilities, I don't see it, but I don't see him doing it anyway because of the flexibility that he may want. This is the reason why Ospreay didn't get it. Ospreay still wanted that flexibility. Ospreay's still young,
Yeah.
like I mentioned about MJF. He's still young. He could probably sit there and say, you know what? I don't want to do the run around anymore and take these bumps and fucking Rev Pro and all this shit. Let me just get a crib in the States and then call it a career here. And I can still work the way they want me to work. I actually thought that his last run the past year was an audition for WWE to show them, like, yo, I can work your style if you want me to.
You said that with the match with Jericho. That was a WWE
Definitely.
tryout match.
Yeah, I definitely said that.
Yeah.
Me and our boy Good Dead Angel said the same thing. He was like, yeah, this is his tryout match. But if Okada doesn't go to WWE, it's fine.
If he goes to AEW, I think it would be another massive issue for AEW because they got another big star that they're not going to be able to.
Man 130. It's going to be the 130 guys there.
Yeah.
But I would like to see, and Nick and Joel, I want to throw your thoughts of how can they build a TNA roster? Can they get Okada to be a novelty specialty guy over there?
I thought that Will Ospreay and or CM Punk would have been that guy for TNA.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to rebrand or go back to TNA, those two names, Punk and Ospreay, were the two guys to get that attention from fans who either used to be TNA fans or want to get into TNA now.
Yeah.
And they missed out on both of them.
Yeah.
So I personally think that Okada is their last chance to get that name. Because honestly, their current roster, as great as it is, as great
it's lacking star power.
Yeah, shit on
Exactly.
It. Go.
Exactly. Because Joel and I talked about this a lot. Each of one of their shows now, like I said, as good as their television programming is, it feels like I'm watching the Thunderdome era of WWE. The crowd are just not there. Even though they're physically there, they're just lackluster. I don't feel anything when I see.
There's somebody like by the ring holding up signs saying cheer, boo, do something.
And it's like, yeah. So it's boring, and they need more star power. At least move out of that arena and go somewhere else.
For me, with Impact and TNA, I've become this it's like it reminds me of I buy emulators, like the consoles, like emulator consoles, like for you guys who are not in the geek world, like video game players. I buy emulators, so I could always pick up that emulator, pick it up, play it, load it to where I was, and just play it. I take Impact and TNA hopefully that same way, that I don't care about the storyline. I could go watch a pay-per-view or watch a show and just watch it for what it is. Like that's what I take it as. And I think that's a problem with a lot of wrestling fans because they take it the same way. It's like, I don't have to watch it any week because I can just pick it up whenever I want to see it. And I think that they need to do something more to get something to draw eyes to that product.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think Okada can make that change. I just don't know how big. I think like an Ospreay would have been better, more because
realistically it would have been Ospreay, I think, and then financially too, because Punk is too much money, and CM Punk was definitely destined to go back to WWE.
Well, it said it was up in the air until WWE came knocking, and then it was like, whoa, I gotta go there. You know what I mean? Like,
but I think at the end of the day, when we were seeing like, CM Punk to TNA, we're all thinking like, no way. Like, even like the roster, like they like CM Punk, they knew the back of their minds. Like, how are we going to afford him? Like, and that's why I said, like, with AEW, if they cut a decent sized amount of the guys, and say like Keith Lee and Jay Lethal go to TNA, they could be their world champion tomorrow, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, with Jay Lethal too, like he's losing in the Continental Classic. If he goes back to TNA, where he pretty much started, where his pretty much his young career, and becomes world champion. I mean, not for nothing, but next year, like we might see like fucking Kazarian as the world champion of TNA, and people are gonna be like, "What?"
Yeah.
I mean, like Keith Lee is perfect for TNA. I mean, like in WWE, he probably be perfect for there too, and like Andrade too. Like he wants to go back to WWE, but meanwhile, like they have his replacement already in Santos.
Yeah, because Santos is everything Andrade. What they wanted from Andrade
Yeah.
and he speaks English.
Santos
it made it even better.
can cut a promo.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they were like, "Oh, this is a no-brainer," which I love what they're doing with Santos right now. I
Me
think
too.
it's incredible. I'm a big fan of his. But yeah, I guess TNA just gotta find that one signing that gets people's attention. I mean, I always keep up with it, but we're wrestling fans, so we're gonna watch it for whatever. But casuals aren't gonna sit down and watch a TNA wrestling show.
Yeah, like right now, like them re-signing like PCO, like that doesn't move the fucking needle. But I don't know what Jay screamed, but he.
Wait, you're
Jay's muted right now. He's
Yeah.
talking to himself.
Nah, I did it on purpose because I didn't want to interrupt. But yeah,
That's your impression of the TNA fans.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah,
But,
bring Christian Cage back. Bring him back. Bring him back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why not?
Bring
Why
the
not?
guy who brought the eyes to the product of TNA that time
Mm.
ago. Once he was let go by WWE, bring him back and make him your inaugural champ. Look at the rundown that he could have over there with matches he could get.
Mm.
You can have Bully Ray. You can have Moose. You can have Josh Alexander. You have a ton of people that he could have a nice run with and have matches with that could draw eyes to the prize. And it's their own version of cross promotion. Let him go over there and you know, let him drop the belt, the TNT title to Copeland. Let him do that. And then we'll have a few months in TNA and just as a trade-off, just to bring eyes to that product.
I'm not mad at that idea.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
actually
that
sounds
was their
good.
plan initially. When he beat Kenny Omega and Christian Cage worked him for a little bit. His thing
It
with
was just a
TNA,
weird time when that happened.
Yeah,
It
like
was still-
Christian, like the work Christian's doing, keep him on TV. Don't take him off my TV. Because then you're putting him on a streaming service that nobody wants to pay for, has like access to. But like with WWE and AEW, they inadvertently did a trade, like Edge for CM Punk. Like
Pretty much, yeah.
with AEW and Impact, like Sami Callihan left Impact and he's on his way to AEW or any day now. Just send anybody who you're not fucking using in AEW to Impact.
Hey, you got a big enough roster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Might as well.
Nick, I know I'm gonna segue, and pardon me because sometimes I get my whole my. By the way, you are a good looking man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
How drunk are you?
And I start, listen. They always say 3 beers queer. All right, so
This guy.
no, I said it, and I'm sorry because sometimes I get
Jay gets so excited to talk to new people.
But not only that, I often go into other people's podcasts, and I'm like, I forget that it's not mine, and I forget that I go into. But Nick, I gotta ask you this.
Nah, you chilling, man.
Thank you, sir. Who's the devil? For me, there's been a lot of people that'll say that Jack Perry. I'm thinking, people say Adam Cole.
Mhm.
Someone brought up the name like Sami Callihan. He could be that. He could be there. He's a free agent.
Ooh.
So,
You don't have to.
What do you guys think?
You don't with the reveal. If it's somebody not like Jack Perry or Adam Cole,
I asked Nick. I didn't ask you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I felt like I wanted to.
It would be cool if it was Sami Callihan. I would pop for that. But the thing is, I don't. It would most likely gonna be Adam Cole. But I also think, in the back of my mind, I think it's also Britt Baker. I know that's like out of the bloom. I know that's probably not what people are expecting to happen. But I do think they're playing the injury to where it's like, let's say if Adam Cole's actually injured and he can't do much. It'll be cool if they had Britt Baker do the dirty work for him. And I think it's going to eventually lead to a stable that's with Britt Baker, Adam Cole, the Kingdom, Roderick Strong, and basically revive the Kingdom as a whole faction. And then basically you're just replacing Maria with Britt Baker. Because Maria's not really doing much on AEW television, doing stuff with Ring of Honor.
Right.
It wouldn't make sense just to randomly bring her back. And she hasn't really done much, again, recently on AEW. So it makes sense to have that power couple with Adam Cole and Britt Baker and the Three Stooges behind them. Doing all
and then when you hear Adam saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing? I did this for you." Let me tell you, Nick, I'm gonna do my De Niro impression. You're good. You're good, sir. That's good. You're good. That's actually really good booking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good booking right there.
But
Yeah, that makes sense.
you went into the thing of we're not getting a Britt Baker MJF match.
No, it continues the story with her, with him and Adam Cole. Like,
and then you can also play this.
I can get Cole sitting there going, "Who are you gonna choose, me or your bitch?" Oh,
That's the thing. Yeah, like you basically have Adam Cole still play the side of MJF, not knowing that he's also behind it.
It's actually really good.
So,
They were saying that the first attack that occurred on Jay White, that the body was more of a female. So that is actually pretty good. That's actually a good look.
And like the more as it went on,
This
it
guy's good.
He's different body styles, body types, and it's like people were saying different people. So I don't know, but that was my first thought, and I still stand by that.
And I'll stand by with her promo, well, not her promo, but her social media. It's like, I don't get no TV time, and that, it's good. Listen, what I always said for the longest time, and I'm glad, and this is why I said for my heels of the week on Turnbuckle Tabloid, one of my things was that the social media pundits, the Meltzers, the Sean Ross Sapps, and all these guys, they won't admit they got worked. WWE worked you when Punk returned. Y'all was sitting there with, it's never gonna happen. No, the conversations it ended there. They don't want him. They don't want that toxicity there. He's a cancer. No, blah 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 blah. And when he showed up in Survivor Series, everybody,
I was told.
Wrestling nowadays, to work your audience, is social media, and I think that is the best thing. Even with the whole idea with Bryan Danielson finding people on social media, I think it's a fucking work. And the biggest marks in the business is not the fans, it's the fucking wrestlers. And Bret Hart has said that the biggest marks in wrestling are the wrestlers. And you know what? This is a way to work everyone, and it's awesome. And if it's what Nick said, which I didn't think about, and I'm mad I didn't fucking think about that shit. I need to drink a little bit more. But I have to say that's a fucking genius idea, and I think it'll make a great premise for a great run for 2024 for them.
Maybe if you say it in your show, it'll come true.
Yeah, I'm gonna steal it. I'm gonna say that I made it up.
That's what you gotta do.
I'm gonna steal it and say I made it up.
Yeah. Like, I never heard this idea before. I haven't heard anybody say it.
Yeah, no one said that. Yeah.
Fanatics, what? Like what?
Yeah. This live she never happened. Well,
Do you think there's any way O'Reilly is tied to this?
I think so. I have a feeling he will be.
Hopefully, I do hope he comes back to wrestling. I mean, it sucks. It would be horrible for him to go from NXT to AEW and then never wrestle again.
I think he has the whole Nigel McGuinness problems. Remember when Nigel was like at the fucking the peak of his game, and he was in ROH and he was in TNA, and then all of a sudden he just stopped wrestling, and everybody didn't know what happened. And he found out he had like some illness, and he just stopped. I think that Kyle is in that same kind of boat. You
say this, and then Nigel McGuinness wrestles Bryan Danielson and All In.
Nigel hasn't wrestled in. Man, listen, that's.
Well, if you're gonna do Bryan Danielson's last match, and if it's gonna be an All In, let it be him versus Nigel. And Nigel's been teasing on TV. He's like, "Oh, that fucking Bryan." Like always sticking his nose in.
It would be. It's a dream match, definitely. But I think Bryan's last match, it'll be against Brie Bella. That's what it's gonna be.
Garcia.
Oh,
yeah,
Garcia.
Yeah.
I forgot. We can't say Bella anymore. Garcia.
You get sued. You're gonna get that check in the mail.
He's gonna fight his wife. That's what's gonna happen.
And the birdie's the referee. Yeah. But yeah, anything else you want to say before we wrap it up about what happened this week in wrestling?
Now we had a bunch of fucking topics though.
Hour and a half.
I did, and the one thing that I would like to say is that I believe that tournament that AEW is having it's a really good tournament. It should be recognized for the matches that they have, but I think that tournament should have been done years ago. It should have been like their launch pad kind of tournament to draw eyes to the product.
Okay.
Because if you could have had it as a yearly event, it would have made more sense than anything else. Like right now, it's just a desperate grab at an audience, and although I'm still kind of, can somebody explain to me the Eddie Kingston thing? Then I thought his belt was going to be defended.
So with his,
I thought it was
the final.
Yeah, no. So what happens is he's still currently the Ring of Honor and New Japan Strong champions.
But didn't he say that the belt is on the line for every match?
He misspoke.
Yeah.
It was a botch on his part.
Yeah.
He wasn't supposed to say. He wasn't supposed to say every match. It's for the
Jay,
belt.
I was on the same boat with you because I just figured this out last week. Because I was like, so he lost the titles, and Nick was like, no,
because what happened?
Everybody's like, wait, Brody King's the champion.
Yeah, that's what I thought when it happened.
Right.
So basically, he has to, in order for him to retain it, he has to make it to the finals and win the finals.
tournament.
Yeah.
Has to win that.
If he doesn't make it to the finals, then we're crowning a new champion. They vacant it and they crown a new champion. So So he's still the champion until he makes it or doesn't make it to the finals.
Right now, he's currently like at the bottom of his like bracket. Like he's like last. Where they're gonna definitely tell the story of like. He needs to start winning his matches.
All right, yeah, because I like I said, I was like, the
fucker said this, and then you book him to lose. Are you playing jokes on us, Tony?
Nah, Eddie, shout out to Eddie. I love that dude. He gets goofy sometimes, but other than that, thanks for you guys for having us on, man. I know.
Most definitely.
Thank you for pulling up, guys.
Exactly.
It was awesome.
Where can everyone find your content and subscribe to Turnbuckle Tabloid?
Yeah, Mike, you do the rundowns. Go ahead, man.
You can follow us at Turnbuckle Tab on X and on Twitter. If you want to follow me personally, it's at M_Sarantino530.
Make sure you check us out on all social media outlets. Check us out on the like and group page on Facebook. Make sure you check us on Instagram at Turnbuckle Tab, as well as on our TikToks and our YouTubes, and we're doing a lot more of promotions on that, on the YouTubers and all that stuff on Turnbuckle Tabloid. And make sure you check us out on all podcasting outlets. We're everywhere. I'll make sure, because I check that shit. I'll make sure that we're everywhere.
Yeah.
If I'm on a podcast outlet that I'm not on, I make sure I check with my producer. Be like, yo, I'm not here. You better make sure we jump up on that. We're on all podcasting outlets at Turnbuckle Tabloid. And once again, thanks to you guys for inviting us and having us on the show, man. You guys
You're
are
welcome. For all the listeners, make sure you go subscribe to both of them in the Turnbuckle Tabloid and listen to their content. Again, we appreciate you guys coming back. Definitely, we should have you back, is what I meant to say.
Mm-hmm.
No, you should. You will.
Yeah, we will. Exactly.
I should not. We should have.
Wrong word. My apologies.
This is only the beginning. 2024 is about to be insane.
Yes, sir.
And we're gonna be doing it soon on Turnbuckle Tabloid side.
Exactly.
Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks again, bro.
So this has been episode 143. I'm Nick with Joel and the Turnbuckle Tabloid, and we'll see you guys next time.
Catch you.
Yeah.